Nicole, and today I'm here to continue with my Pride videos, which I promised to do exclusively on this channel for June. And the topic of today's video is going to be FF romances. I'm going to recommend you a few that I really enjoyed reading. And even though I maybe am not an avid reader of romance novels, at least I don't read as many romance novels that other people read. I'm not going to make any assumptions. But I did read a bunch of queer romances that I enjoyed, and I thought that passing it on will be a nice gesture. It's actually not easy for me to find romances that are going to be completely to my taste, because I enjoy very specific scenarios and very specific characters, but I loved or really liked these novels, so there's a hope that you're going to love them as well. The first series that I want to recommend is Belladonna Ink series by Lorelie Brown. It is a series of standalone companion novels that follow different characters that are somehow associated or work at Belladonna Ink tattoo parlor. The first novel is Far From Home and follows a 20-something girl named Rachel who has a film degree and a lot of student loans. She works in a production company, but she is asked more than she's paid on this job. And at the party she meets a young woman named Dahlia, who is an Indian woman that finished her education in America but is now in need of a green card. She just finished working for one business and she wants to start her own, so she needs to have all the legal papers in order for that. Rachel warms up to Pari and she offers jokingly to marry her, so Pari will get her green card. And somehow this joke turns out to be taken a little bit too serious, and they meet the second time and actually start talking about entering a fake marriage. So this novel deals with a fake marriage trope, which is my absolute favorite. I love a fake marriage trope, a fake relationship trope. For whatever reasons, just give me this shit, I'm going to eat it. And if it also includes hate to love, then I'm literally all about that. It doesn't include hate to love. Actually, the relationship was very sweet and interesting, and I really enjoyed it. The characters had an amazing chemistry. I really loved their romantic relationship, but I also loved the other layers in this story. Rachel's friends were always sort of joking about her romantic life, that she didn't have many stable relationships, and that she doesn't seem to feel sexual attraction much. They are kind of used to it, but they are not talking about it in label terms. This part was very interesting and very well done and researched. And the other part that was about Paris' cultural tradition, Indian tradition, was very well researched and written as well. Basically, they want a wedding that is going to be very small and very private because it's fake. But Perry's mom, who's a very stereotypical Indian mom, may accept that her daughter is queer, but she won't ever accept a small wedding. So she flies to US and starts living with them. Rachel moves in with Perry because she doesn't have a lot of money and she has all those student loans. That's why she agreed in the first place. So they all live together under one roof, and Perry and Rachel actually have to act as if they are in a relationship. And it's tougher than they expected because they need to know a lot about each other to make a good job at it. Perry's mom was such an entertaining character also, and I loved her relationship with Rachel and how she started to accept her and to love her. And I just really enjoyed the story overall. The second book in the series is Take Me Home. It's more of a novella, it's short, and I didn't enjoy it as much as the first or the third book, but for the sake of keeping this series intact and whole, I'm going to talk about the second book as well, because You may enjoy it more than me. I thought that it was a little cliche and had a lot of problems. But overall, I think that the chemistry was well written and that Lorelie Brown knows how to write relationships. It follows a girl named Kaylee who's a little fed up with some of her conservative relatives. She is out and proud. Her close relatives love her and accept her, but there are some aunties and some cousins that cannot accept her and constantly make mean, terrible comments. So this Thanksgiving, she doesn't want to go there alone, and she wants to hire someone to pretend to be her girlfriend. She goes to Reddit and finds the perfect girl for the job. This girl is named Rook. She's a tattoo artist, and she doesn't want to spend Thanksgiving alone, so she's up for everything. They immediately pass the chemistry test and find each other attractive, so there's something going on. They go to Kaylee's family home, and it turns out to be a mess. The thing that I didn't like about this novel is that it's very short, and it could have helped to know these characters more. There's also a very distasteful rape joke and fat shaming. It doesn't take a lot of the story, it's basically a mention, but some people might not want to read about that. I honestly didn't want to read about that either. There's also a dog that gets hurt, and I'm warning you about this because queer women are very sensitive about that. But this dog lives, so don't worry. The third book in the series is Her Hometown Girl, and I think it might be my favorite. I just really love the couple so much and the topics it discuss. It also has a runaway bride trope that I love. It follows a character named Tansy. She's in her early 20s and she is a teacher. And she literally has to marry her fiance, who is a woman, in seconds, but she catches her with another man. She's extremely upset about it, so she runs away from her wedding. She stumbles upon a tattoo parlor, Belladonna Ink. She's a little lost and shocked, so she asks for a tattoo. She meets Kai, a tattoo artist, and Kai gives her a tattoo on her ankle, I think. They start talking because Kai sees that Tansy is in a distress, and Tansy tells her a little bit of what happened. They grow closer and fall into a relationship, but there's more to Tansy's ex than Kai expected, because at first it seemed like her fiance only cheated, and that was the issue why they broke up, but actually Tansy's fiance was abusing her for years sexually and emotionally. There actually is a scene of spousal abuse or sexual abuse in the story. It's written, so if it's a trigger for you, don't read. But this part of the story is dealt with such care, because when Kai figures it out, and she does it very early into their relationship, she doesn't push Tansy into something she's not ready to have. She doesn't overly pamper her. She doesn't act like she's her savior. And I love that. They also have very kinky sex. And I'm talking about some dominance, submissive play. But there's a very obvious, I would say, startling difference between this and Tansy's relationship with her ex. I just love that it centered Tansy and her experience. And I also really enjoyed that it was a story of her finding herself. Tansy realizes that her past relationship was very abusive and that she couldn't do things that she actually wanted to do. She didn't even visit her family much because her fiance didn't like it. She's finally free and she is finally living her own life. I just really love this book. I would say that it's my favorite out of the three. What I enjoyed about Lorelie Brown's books a lot is that she centers her stories around 20-something characters, and I relate to that because I'm 20-something. It mostly also tackles important issues, and I love the way she writes chemistry and sex, because her sex is realistic. There's a great banter between the characters. She writes sex scenes between characters in general, as in sex is a play, which it is. So she has a bit of a different approach to those scenes. Unlike other romance writers that I've read before, and I really enjoyed it because of that. The other FF romance novel that I want to recommend is also new adult, and it is a part of the series, but the other books in the series are not queer, so I'm only recommending this one, even though the other two are good as well. But you're not obligated to read it because they are companion novels as well. The series is the Lorelie University series by Dahlia Adler, and the book that I'm going to talk about is Out on Good Behavior. It's the third book in the series, but as I said, you don't have to read the first and the second book if you don't want to. You won't know much about other characters and how they are actually connected, but it doesn't really matter. This story is set on university campus, which is great. I would like to read more of this, please. And it follows a girl named Frankie Pellisario who is pansexual and who is very much into experimenting because she wants to be young and free and sleep with as many people as possible, which is understandable because why not when you're young and in university. But she starts developing a serious crush on Samara Kazarian, who is her best friend's roommate, and it's a very awkward situation for her because she doesn't know if Samara is queer, even though she is giving off some vibes and it seems like she likes Frankie back, and she doesn't want to ruin her best friend's living situation because it might turn into a terrible mistake later. And Samara is also a daughter of a Southern Republican mayor, so their relationship could have serious consequences. But Frankie just finds Samara so wonderful and adorable, and she can't back off, so she is pursuing her in a very subtle and sometimes not subtle way. Personally, I loved it. Give me a good college university story and I'm going to eat it up. It was literally everything that I wanted to see in a university-based romance. I loved the chemistry between the characters, the relationship, the drama. I think it was well balanced. And also, I really loved Samara. I think that her character is so nerdy and cute. I loved that Samara loved young adult books, Harry Potter, ships. I love stories about nerds because I'm a nerd and nerdy love is the cutest. The last romance that I want to recommend is The Brutal Truth by Lee Winter, which was a retelling of sorts of The Devil Wears Prada. It is about an office romance between the boss and the employee. It follows Maddie, who is an Australian reporter. She moved to New York because she won the green card in a lottery, and now, even though she's extremely unhappy in New York, she has to stay there because everyone, including her friends and relatives, expects her to love it and to feel blessed. And she doesn't feel very blessed. The rent is very high. She doesn't work in a very interesting environment for her. She works in a small paper as a night crime reporter, and it's not something she wanted for herself. So it dawns on her, and it also turns out that their paper is bankrupt and it's bought by Elena Bertel's corporation. Elena Bertel is a huge name in newspapers and magazines. She's a multimillionaire and a businesswoman. She buys newspapers and magazines that are not doing well, and she does her magic, and suddenly they start making a lot of money, or she finds another way to make money out of these deals. She is not particularly pleasant if we're going by the gossip, so everyone is on edge, and she also feels like it's going to go terribly because if she loses this job, she will not be able to pay rent at all. But when she actually meets the woman, she realizes that she might not be that bad, and that she actually hides a big part of herself that people might actually like, and bit by bit Maddie is breaking through her defenses. It is very much the boss and their personal assistant falling in love. The boss is being completely unbearable but warming up to the person that they spend a lot of time with. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like these types of relationship developments because they are usually complicated and they take a lot of time. So it was very much my thing. I did find a few things unrealistic. I thought that 𝕊𝕆𝕆𝕂 softened up a bit too much by the end, but overall I really loved the romance. I loved the relationship, I loved the chemistry, and I also loved the personal growth of the characters. That's all the romances that I want to recommend to you. I hope that you're going to enjoy them, and in the comments down below tell me about your favorite FF romances or some books in this genre that you think I'm going to enjoy. I already kind of told you what kind of tropes or settings I like. Thank you for watching this video. To support me, you can comment, like, share, or also press the bell button to always know when I upload. I hopefully will see you soon with the next video that is going to be also pride related. Thank you for watching. Bye.